part of my commitment to helping my clients and future clients for 2022, our word for our team, Carrie White team, is impact. I want to help my clients build wealth through real estate investments. Investments come in all shapes and sizes. And today we are highlighting short-term rentals, commonly called Airbnbs, even though there's a lot of different platforms.
STRs.
My guest for today is my husband. Some may know him or of him from my stories. Eric Crumbaker leads a very successful top team in Claremont, California, which is about an hour out of LA, known for the Claremont colleges, the city with trees.
And PhDs.
Wow. Okay. And he's a real estate agent, a leader, a coach, a manager, a speaker. And I'm very grateful for you crossing over to the Carrie White team today.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Our guests. We don't work together. Although when we bought an Airbnb, we became business partners.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Which that's something to think about too, with who you're buying with, because that was a little bit of a surprise. It was no longer me making my own decisions on the Carrie White team. I had to consult with him on the pool room.
I'm a tough cookie to consult with.
The design on the pool room. I got vetoed, so I had to, anyways, we got the fridge instead. Anyways, so just think about that when you're making decisions. It's different from a marriage. It's a business partnership.
Very much so.
The rules are different. I don't have to be the female in the business relationship like I do in the marriage. Anyways, if you don't know me, I'm sure most of you do. I am Carrie White out of the agency in Los Angeles. Been doing real estate forever, since I was like late teens, and I lead a team and I help many of my amazing clients buy, sell, invest in properties. Grateful for all my loyal clients. Thank you to who's watching and my powerhouse team. We couldn't do it without you. I'm an active real estate investor, learned it from my parents, my dad specifically, a short-term rental owner, manager, loving it, learning a lot, spend a little bit more time on it than I should. Been doing a lot more speaking, presenting locally and nationally. And so we've rolled out this webinar series to just shake things up, give more knowledge, help more people, and to hear more about everybody building their wealth in this amazing market.
Yeah.
So we are going to discuss how to find, buy, set up, operate, and profit off an investment used for short-term rentals. There's really three parts to this.
And this is going to be a three-part series, just so you guys know, only because there's so much content when we built out this webinar and all this information. There's a lot of content to go through. So we're breaking this up into a three-part series, just so you guys can get these in bite-sized pieces, so you guys can go out there and either start researching, start executing, or setting up your Airbnb.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. So the research. So it starts with research, finding properties. Where on earth do you find a property? So where to get started? Eric, where would you start to look for a short-term rental?
Well, it's a good question, Carrie. I think when we started to research Airbnbs, I think you and I were under the understanding that it was like a twofold process. We wanted a vacation home, but we also wanted to get into the Airbnb business. So you and I made a commitment that we were going to get into the Airbnbs, or we were going to buy an Airbnb and we were going to run it. But we also wanted to find an area that we could also go to the home and enjoy it ourselves and create our own vacations. So what we did was we put together all the places that you and I like to travel to. And based on the things that we like to travel, places that we like to travel to, we decided to just do a process of elimination based on the research that we've done on each of the locations or marketplaces that we like to travel into. Yeah. And what those are is you like to know what the rents are getting for short-term rentals. Two, if it's even legal to short-term rental in these marketplaces. Three, if it's even worth it financially for all these things to work out to have a vacation home, use it as an Airbnb, and make a profit at the same time. So when you're evaluating all these, you and I, we're also, just so you guys know, we have friends also that run Airbnbs as well. So we have really good connections. And we have a program that we use called AirDNA. You guys can write that down, airdna.com.
You go fast.
Oh, sorry. And
if you want to know where to start, like you said, where do you like to go? Because I would say we were traveling to places, spending, I don't know, $300, $500 a night on an Airbnb, like in Mammoth. And I'm like, wow, they're making so much this weekend. Look up, how much did they buy it for recently? Like 400, 500,000. Like, these people are making a killing. Or my 30th birthday party, a couple of years ago, several years ago, we spent like $3,000 for the weekend. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, there's no way these people's mortgages is more than that. So that's kind of what kicked us off into thinking that. So when you're looking at these areas, start to look at, well, are they seasonal? Are they snow town only? Like, what would your averages be if you have to average it over the year? Does it get too hot in the desert and doesn't rent there?
Yeah.
Where we are right now. And things like what the growth is like in the area. Is there an oversaturation? And then, like Eric was saying, going into the city rules. So I didn't mean to cut you off
No, you
there.
can cut me off. Go into the city rules, seeing if it's illegal.
Regulations.
You know,
Yeah.
the tricky part is really understanding what people are getting for rents in the area for short-term rentals. And that is where AirDNA comes into play. So if you guys want to just retract a little bit, first and foremost is to make the decision with you, if you're individual or your spouse, where exactly you guys want to buy or invest in Airbnb and what reasons you want to invest in Airbnb for. Some people are strictly on the investment period where they'll just have multiple Airbnbs in multiple states. They've never traveled there. They have managers that manage the locations for them, and they're just getting money in the mail every single month and paying off their managers. And then there are others that want to have an active approach where they're going to the home, they're running the Airbnb, they're going to the Airbnb, they're managing the Airbnb. So there's a lot of different reasons of why you want to invest. So the first step is identifying why you want to have an Airbnb. Second is researching the location about the city ordinance, rents, and what other people are getting. And through that, that's what we use AirDNA for .com. It's kind of pricey, but it's totally worth it because at the end of the day, these are large investments. And at the end of the day, also Airbnb is a risk. So you want to make sure that you want to have as little risk as possible when you're going into such a huge investment. So yeah, there you go.
So everybody write this down.
Oh yes, by the way, this is being recorded. So we'll put out the recording after this as well.
If you're lucky. JK, no, it's being recorded. AirDNA. AirDNA.
Yeah, AirDN as in Nancy, AirDNA.
Yeah. So once you get your areas, your top areas, even if you want to maybe start with 3, you go into this website, which we can pull up and show you. And what they do is they will go through all the analytics of that area. They will tell you, what do they tell you? Things like the growth, the nightly rents, the occupancy, because some places don't rent out 100% of the time.
Hey, let's do this. Let's go on to AirDNA. Let's share a screen with everybody and kind of give them an understanding of exactly how AirDNA works.
Right. And keep in mind when it comes to these, it really is something you can't pay someone to do. I'm not saying manage it, but you really have to spend the time and energy and vacation trips. You have to figure out what you like and do the research, look up other properties, because what you like and what you think is worth it to you is going to be different from anybody else. So you can't just go to an agent or to I could probably help with some of those, but a vacation manager company and just say, oh, what's the best property to buy? Like, you've really got to put in the legwork. And that's why there's amazing websites like AirDNA here. So we will share our screen with you really quick.
Good point.
Thanks. Okay, can everybody see this, the MLS, which is not what I was pulling up? I'm in, one thing I wanted to mention. So AirDNA put out a report, everybody can see this, which is the best cities for Airbnb investment. You don't even have to be logged in to see this. And they have at the very top, Lahaina. Oh, is it rated by top income? Yeah, Hawaii, there's 5,000 rentals, 78,000 is the potential. The demand is 97, the growth. So AirDNA score of 99. And then it goes through, wow, Hawaii is pretty good. Nashville, South Carolina.
There's your Nashville.
No,
I like that.
I want to be in St. Thomas.
No, we had somebody researching Nashville already. Charleston, South Carolina. My sister loves that area right
West
there.
Palm Beach. I do Florida.
I do West Palm Beach.
Miami Beach. There we go.
Miami Beach. There you go. 5,000. You know, it's crazy for Miami Beach being so high on there. It's so hard to find an Airbnb in that area.
I know, that's interesting. Okay, so we have logged into AirDNA here, and we're going to pick a property in Palm Springs. Thank you.
So we're going to walk you guys through the process of how we identify properties and what we do in AirDNA to research these out so you guys can understand, because I'll be honest with you, you can get very confused in a website like AirDNA.
Can everybody see Zillow that I'm pulling up right now? Because I don't know if everyone here is a real estate agent, so they may want to start their searches on Zillow or on the internet. So if you look up, say, hey, we want to be in Palm Springs, we're going to find a house. Okay, this is listed at 1-1. It says it's 1-2-3. That's scary. So like, this looks nice. There's a pool. It's mid-century. It's a fun little door.
I like the door, yeah.
Yeah, we're like, okay. It's like prime area of Palm Springs, which we know. And one of the reasons we like the desert is we both grew up going here. I used to rollerblade. Did anybody rollerblade in Palm Springs when they were kids around the Renaissance? Which was fun. So it's a little bit of fixer. The other thing too to look at with Airbnbs is it does not have to be remodeled. Some of the highest grossing Airbnbs are not done. Like example, like this,
the bathroom,
because it's all about the decor. It is all about the details. So you could make something like this super fun.
Super fun.
Super fun. Okay, so let me put in the address here. Everyone can see my screen, right? I'm not looking.
Yes. And by the way, we pre-picked this address. We did a little bit of research for the webinar. So this is the address that we chose.
Correct. Okay, so I'm going to go to AirDNA. So right now it's locked because I have to put in the address. But you can see here, there's, oh my gosh, there's so many options. You need to do like a little webinar on AirDNA.
So
but
top right, you see we put in Palm Springs.
So I'm going to click on Rentalizer.
Top left, sorry.
Rentalizer. And
on the column, hit Rentalizer. Okay.
Yeah, just hit it, yeah. So I'm going to paste this address in. It brings it up, and then it's going to verify the size of it. Today, maybe later.
All the little computer bots are doing research right now.
I hope so.
Me too. That or they all crashed. All right, here we go.
All right, so it's saying it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and we're saying six guests. So right away, I'd want to change it to 2 bathrooms because that will make a difference. But you can see here off the bat, it's telling you that you'll make 132,000 gross a year.
That's their annual revenue currently.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a forecast. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
not an active AirDNA.
Wrong one.
This is the average daily rate, $595. And this is the occupancy rate. And then it's got little bubbles here. So this is the estimated percentage of days that this property will be booked in the next year. Most properties have this, like a 60 to 70% occupancy rate. We've run ours at basically 100%, 99%. So it depends, but this could also factor into owners going down. So what you can actually do here is you can put in your own purchase price, and it'll calculate your operating expenses, your net, your cap rate. And it'll also give you top properties in the area. Now, we don't pay for Palm Springs because you have to pay for each zip code. Do you want to sign up for it right now or no? I probably don't need to. But this gives you a good start. But the top properties is so amazing because you can literally open up other people's Airbnbs and see what they're making. Example, this is in Venice, but it's showing you here grayed out that this Airbnb is making 27,000 a year. It's a little cottage in Venice. Here's another one in Venice showing you the revenue potential if they were to rent it more, occupancy 92%, their average daily rate. So you can look at other houses in the area. So we would look at other similar mid-century fixer homes in this area of Palm Springs and say, okay,
that's correct. We
could probably make about 130,000. So this leads us into, so 130,000 divided by 12. So you're looking at about 10,000 a month gross. So you'd want to make sure that your mortgage and expenses and everything is less than that. However, we have our own formula.
Our STR hotel formula.
Yeah, that we use when we're looking at properties to invest in. So we're looking at our third one together. And from there, we're using this formula. Talk to us a little bit more about this formula.
Well, being in real estate, Carrie and I both understand different markets. What do I want? What's the term I want to use? Market conditions. Mm-hmm. And running our first Airbnb, really understanding how to get rents, and also being in a community of other Airbnbers, we've come to find out how you manage and understand your competition to adjusting the price to always having yourself at the top where you're being picked first. So we've created an STR hotel formula based on the purchase price, based on what you can ask for a rent a day. So it really comes down, the formula is price-based. So it really depends on the purchase price of the property. But let's get into an example and apply the formula, Carrie.
So basically, if you're going to any hotel in the country or maybe in the world, no matter what, wherever you're staying, you're going to be paying at least $200 a night, even if it's a crappy hotel by the airport.
Always. At least 200.
I'm not talking hostels. I'm talking like places like where anybody normal would actually lay their head down now.
No Motel 6s here.
Yeah, well,
I like that though. In Mammoth, all day. Anyways.
Yeah. So if you look at that 200 a night times 30 days a month, around 6,000 guaranteed. Of course, you have to factor in occupancy rates. So you want to be able to purchase something that will ensure that you are not over 6,000 a month. Now, that also depends on how much you're putting down. So if you don't want to put a lot down, your purchase price will need to be lower. But if you're looking at a property around $1 million and you're at 200,000 down, you're going to be right there on the brink.
And Carrie, does this apply with overhead costs as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So with 6,000, you want to make sure that your mortgage is much lower than that. And then you can calculate your net based on that. And if you optimize your Airbnbs like we have with some of the things we can talk about on the next one, you will be getting more than the higher average daily rate. When we went into our place at La Casa Rosa, we were saying we were guesstimating around 60 to 70 gross.
Mm-hmm.
And the first year we did over 100 gross. And that was with us renting it starting in April of 2020.
That's correct.
And we stayed there quite a bit, especially with COVID. So now this year we're projecting to do at least 150 or 160 off of that because we're not there as much. And inflation, things are higher. The nightly rents are higher. There's less competition.
We purchased another Airbnb.
Yeah. So those are some great things to look at. But we definitely put in the details to make that happen.
Yes, as you can kind of see behind us.
Right. So if you are looking at, say, $1 million purchase, if you're only doing 5% down, you'll have to look at making less per month. Or if you're putting a larger amount down, or maybe you want a bigger party house. So you don't look at that 200 a night, you're looking at least 500 a night. Then you can factor in grossing anywhere from 15 to 20,000. But really think about it, 200, even 300 a night. 300 a night is 9,000 a month.
That's correct. It's crazy what 200 to 300, just that 33% increase can do in a 30-day basis, that compound effect.
Right. And if you're traveling with family or friends, you're looking at hotel rooms. I mean, really everywhere you're going to be spending $400 to $500 a night. So you're at least $1,000 to $1,500 for 2 to 3 hotel rooms, but any Airbnb is going to be much less than that. And you get the kitchen, usually a pool, bedrooms, bathrooms. So it's a whole different experience. And the one thing about it, when people talk about the competition with hotels and Airbnbs or short-term rentals, it's a different type of traveler. Like when Eric and I travel, we like to go to nice hotels. We like to lay by the pool and be served, and we don't cook in our kitchen. And it's a totally different experience. When we go to our short-term rentals, we have some of our best friends come down or our parents, and we chill and we do a lot of cleaning and cooking and the whole thing. And I count toilet paper like a crazy person for my supply checklist, literally refold pillows and sheets and stuff. But when we're out traveling, we don't usually stay at Airbnbs unless we're going on a family vacation. So the hotel industry has complained about being disrupted by Airbnbs. That is absolutely incorrect. They are two very different types of travelers, and they cater to two different types of travelers as well.
We feel STRs attract more families, because if you were going to get a hotel and you have 5 kids and you wanted to book 3 rooms or 2 rooms, you're looking at close to $1,000 a night, $800 a night. And STRs just give families just so much more opportunity to get a place for their whole family in a very safe, secure place at a much lower cost than having to go to a hotel. Because at the end of the day, these kids don't need the hotel necessities that they offer. They're not going to the bars. They're not using all the amenities, the massage rooms and stuff like that. So I feel like the hotels are more for adults than they are kids.
Yeah. It just depends on what kind of vacation
Agreed.
you're going for.
Agreed.
Yeah, like when we're
We're
going to
talking
Miami.
to kidless parents right now. So.
Right, thanks. We are going to Miami in May and we're looking at Airbnbs. And then I'm just like thinking about going to the store and like, where are the stores there? What are they called? I don't know. So it's like, okay, hotel all the way for sure. But
and this formula, by the way, we will put the formula in so you guys can understand and apply it for yourselves as you guys are looking. And really quickly, I want to answer Dan's question. He said, looking at seasonal rentals, what have you seen? What would you say locally top 3 to 5 in California would you recommend? Dan,
areas?
Good question. I would say Palm Springs is a great area. Obviously, you're in Joshua Tree. That's also another good area. Ventura is a great area. Santa Barbara, San Diego, Mammoth.
We don't, I wouldn't know the top 3 to 5 because I haven't done that research. I've only been researching the desert, Mammoth, Miami.
Well, I'm telling them the ones we've researched.
You'd have to go on Airbnb for that.
You would, Dan. You'd have to sign up and put some Airbnb money in there, my friend. But yes, there are some really good ones. I do have friends in Ventura. We have friends in Santa Barbara as well that also do very well. So I do know those are some really, really great communities. And then San Diego, we're also looking in San Diego.
Right. So the setup or the research is the first part, which you're going to find the area you want to be in, get into AirDNA, do the research, do the analytics, use the short-term rental hotel formula to figure it out. And then you're going to get an agent who works that area. I would highly recommend working with an agent who's familiar with short-term rental properties, the laws, opportunities there, because there are some in every market that work that. And be ready to go. So get your ducks in order, your approval letter.
I'm going to add on to the agent thing that she said.
Okay.
A lot of people choose not to use an agent when they're looking at properties. They kind of do it themselves. And we do ourselves too. I mean, we're both in real estate, but I will tell you, it is very smart to have a couple agents in any market that you're looking into, because agents will always have different connections and different grips on the current marketplace. For example, our place in La Quinta, our next door neighbor actually sold off market literally as we were sitting outside lounging in the sun about a week and a half ago. And the property never hit the market. The property never hit the MLS, but the next door neighbor next to them said on flyer that they had, and somehow he said he had buyers. So these buyers from Canada purchased a home that never hit the market. So these things do tend to happen in these vacation areas.
Yeah.
So having 1 to 3 different agents that can provide you good information, that's always going to be very key.
I like one. I like to be loyal.
You know, I'm a businessman. So.
Right. Like in Miami, where we're trying to find something, we'll be there next month. Like we're working with agents, but we need to find something that's short-term rentable. And if you don't know what those properties are, then we likely don't want to work with that agent. And so it's something we're considering as well. So that is the research side of it. The second part, which we can talk about next time, will be the setup, the process. So we'll give you a little teaser. What was very interesting was learning all the different little apps. Like, okay, there's a pricing software that you can use that will automatically change prices higher or lower based on concerts or seasonality. So there's a lot of research you don't have to do. They will also do things like gradual decreases. If somebody hasn't booked, they'll lower the price at a certain time. So there's amazing algorithms, pricing algorithms built into certain pieces of software that you can hook into your calendars to your properties. There's also the cleaning app. So when the cleaners come and you get a complaint from a guest, there wasn't paper towels or no sponges or something, you can go back and look on your apps to see the pictures that they've verified that they've done all these things. There's also the decor, the list of things. So we've made a checklist that has every little item you would need for the house, anywhere from pots, baking dishes, to how many pillows on a bed, very systematized that way. You don't have to do it that way. The first Airbnb that we did, well, not the first one we did together, I ordered everything online while I was in Australia in February 2020. Literally, I ordered the house online. You can do that, or you can go and do a crazy Target run. And the items are really not about having something that's super expensive. You really want things that are on theme with what you want. You need nice beds, nice pillows, nice things, but it's not about going designer for these types of houses, because you have to understand there's some wear and tear. Like I say 1 piece per room. So our living room, we have a Bob's couch, but we have a beautiful French Moroccan tile coffee table, and we have these custom Marylands.
Yeah. Well, let's not ruin the next segments for everybody, but let's do a quick recap, because Carrie likes to kind of
just one more teaser. And then the third thing that we're going to talk
I'm going to recap though.
is the execution. So once you're executing, how you actually manage these things, because it's a full-time job.
Okay, so we haven't even finished today's seminar, and she's
No?
already given you teasers. So
Okay.
let's do a quick recap on today. So first and foremost, are you okay?
I love you.
First and foremost, one, you want to locate the area of interest.
Tessa likes to
Two, you want to once you research the area of interest, research the location, the city ordinances, legal issues around there, and then you want to apply the STR hotel formula to see, based on the mortgage, based on expenses, overhead, how it applies to get affordability.
remember.
Number four, you want to get an agent. You want to look at property. You want to be ready. You want to be qualified. You want to have all your ducks in a row, all your finances in a row.
I like
And
number
then
5.
fifth, you want to buy the
Buy
home.
the house.
And just so you guys
Buy
know,
the house.
going into our next segment, buying a home really leads into the clock's now running.
Oh, yeah.
Now that you're in an escrow, you only have a 30-day to a 40-day window to really get everything lined up for this Airbnb. Because once you close escrow, the clock is live.
Yeah.
You're paying your mortgage
yeah.
at the end of that month.
Oh, yeah.
So what you do from the time you're in escrow to the time you are live
Very
on
true.
Airbnb, that's where this next segment's really going to come into play. She mentioned all the different apps, all the different utilities that we use online to keep us organized, the different checklists,
organized.
and how you order all the furniture through Amazon and different websites that we use, using a really good checklist. So there's a lot of huge nuts and bolts that we're going to be bringing to the next webinar. Today was more of the research and analysis of how to locate an Airbnb. Next is all the different analytics that we use in the background to keep an Airbnb running. And then our last webinar is how to execute at the highest level with a lot of competition, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of Airbnbs, and you guys who own Airbnbs really understand you have competition in your markets.
Yep.
How do you stand out to your competition where your home is the one that's always booked up? And that little icon that comes up with a little diamond that says, this is rare.
This is a rare find.
This is a rare find.
Carrie's place is a rare find. It's like a hot home on Redfin,
It's a hot home. And to keep that up there is very, very hard to do. But it's a formula, again, that we use to stay in front of people's eyes on Airbnb and VRBO. So again, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to stay on to the next webinars that we'll be launching in the next week or so.
We'll talk about things like what happens when the maids don't finish cleaning in time. We'll talk about all the things that go wrong when people get locked out. We've got a lot more to discuss on how this all works. Remember, short-term rentals are a business.
It's a business. So there's a lot of things playing in the background. So thanks for tuning in.
Recorded.
This is being recorded. We'll send it to everybody else.
Our first webinar, babe.
Carrie, thank you for having me on today.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, special guests. We'll see you on the next one. We don't have the date yet.
We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, Bev.
Bye.